Morning all, back in the lakes on a cold, frosty mid-December morning. Beautiful, lovely blue sky. Sun up was about an hour ago. It's about -2, ground's crunchy underfoot, and it really is spectacular walking weather. So 2 Wainwrights on the radar today. Whinlatter, which I was supposed to climb last time but ran out of steam towards the end, so I've got to tick that one off. And then I've got to climb Barrow as well. But to link those fells together, I'm also going to climb over Hopegill Head, Crag Hill, Sale, Scar Crags, then drop down onto Barrow. So that's the plan today. So let's have a look at the route. Okay, so the route starts in Braithwaite and heads off towards Lanefoot Farm, and then winds its way up onto the flanks of Whinlatter Forest. And then it's a case of picking your way through the various paths and mountain biking trails until you eventually get up onto the summit of Whinlatter. Now there's no direct path down to the west side, which is where I want to be, and so you have to go out of your way a little bit to get onto a good path that then takes you down onto the road. There's a little bit of road walking here until you get onto another path which takes you up onto the flanks of Swinside. Over onto the left there are the Swinside and Hobcarton plantations. Then we're up onto the ridge and up onto Ladyside Pike, and then along up onto Hopegill Head. Now I won't spoil the surprise, but the view from there was unbelievably magnificent, and I lingered there for far too long, which is why I ended up running out of daylight and having to bail out down this route along the Coaldale Valley back to the car. So I did have to miss out Barrow, unfortunately, and save that one for another day. I'll explain why in more detail in the video. Okay, so Whinlatter is up ahead of me, bathed in sunshine there. And Bath is the one to the right just there, which I climbed last time. And if you watched that video, you will have seen that I had intended to climb Bath, then onto Whinlatter, and then back down to wrap up that hike, but it was just a bridge too far on the day, so I didn't climb Whinlatter. So that's the objective of today. Whinlatter on the Forestry England website is described as England's only mountain forest, and there's hiking trails and mountain biking trails and all sorts of other things around this area. I just want to get to the summit and then move on, and there's quite a few. Looking at the map, there's no direct route straight up there. It's very windy forestry tracks, so we'll see. It's going to be a bit of an exploration this, but you can see there is Whinlatter Forest, and the summit is up there somewhere, and it's just going to be a case of picking the paths that seem to be heading uphill, and hopefully we'll find the top eventually. Right, okay, so let's crack on. So there is just a tiny bit of road walking just before the walk starts, just about 1/4 mile, which is not ideal of course, but it does give you a good opportunity to survey the mountain and have a little look about what's involved, what the aspect's like. Bathed in sunshine, which is lovely. So yeah, I'm looking for a path that just exits on the left as we approach Thornthwaite over here. Bassenthwaite Lake over there, and that's Skiddaw over there, just with a little crown of cloud at the moment, but hopefully that's forecast to lift as the day goes on. Yeah, lovely morning. So let's try and find this path on the left, and then we can start the ascent of Whinlatter. There we are. It's a real crisscross of paths on the flanks of Whinlatter, so I'm just working on the premise that whenever I come to a junction of paths, just take the one that's going uphill, and hopefully that logic serves true and I'll arrive on the summit, because the map really isn't very helpful. There's just too many paths in a short area, and you can't really identify exactly where you are. So I'm hoping this philosophy works out and we'll keep heading upwards. Oh, not too far to go, I don't think. Maybe another half an hour or so up in that direction. Grisdale Pike coming into view. Always a good sign. Oh, right. A load of seats here all lined up. I think it's time to have a little. I've been going for, what, an hour and a half, I think, 2 hours. Let's have a look. Yeah, 1 hour 35 minutes. So yeah, time for just a quick slip of coffee and then push on to the summit. Well, I might have mentioned before that I often forget something on these hikes. Nothing catastrophic normally, you know, just something little like a buff or a spare pair of gloves or whatever. Anyway, this time I've just discovered that the thing I've forgotten was coffee. I don't mean the flask. The flask's with me, full of hot liquid, but just no coffee in it. So I've just been drinking warm water mixed with a bit of warm milk, and yeah, it was actually surprisingly good. But yeah, I actually forgot to put the spoonfuls of coffee in the flask. What an idiot. Absolute silence. We're right in the thick of the forest here on looks like a mountain bike trail, and there is nobody here at all. It's quite dark down here as well under the canopy, but yeah, the sound of the silence in here is really quite stunning. Okay, just emerged from the path onto the other side of the forest, and that's Whinlatter Summit there, so that's where I'm heading. And then I think that's, yeah, Grisdale Pike just around the corner. I think that's Hopegill Head over there. Right, okay, finally out in the open, some sunshine. Let's go and pick up this path and get onto the summit of Whinlatter. Okay, made it to the summit of Whinlatter. This is probably quite a good time of year to climb this, because a lot of the path is over sphagnum moss, and I imagine in the summer, or at least autumn and spring particularly, it'd be quite squelchy, but the ground's all frozen now, so dry feet, bonus. Lovely views. So let me show you around. So we've got northwards, Skiddaw. We've got the Helvellyn Range and Clough Head are just under cloud at the moment. We have got Causey Pike peeking out there. Grisdale Pike, the big one there. This one in the foreground is Hobcarton End. We've got Ladyside Pike there and Hopegill Head, where I'm heading next. And then the one in the far ground there, I think it's either going to be Crag Hill or Sale, I think. Yeah. And then we've got this one here in the foreground is still part of Whinlatter, but it looks higher than where we are now, but it's not. Where we are now is the summit, is higher. And then these are all the other fells that I climbed the last time I was in the lakes, when I missed out this one today. So that's Ling Fell, this one's Broom Fell, got Lord's Seat there, and then back round to Skiddaw. Yeah, so the journey between Lord's Seat and here was just, there's a big valley in between. It was just a little bit too far to do last time, which is why I've left it for today. Right, time for a quick rest, and then we're going to strike this path over here in this direction, and then we need to find the road, and then find a path that leaves the road and heads up over to Ladyside Pike and Hopegill Head. Okay, let's get going then. Okay, this is a little subsidiary summit of Whinlatter. Definitely not as high as the main fell where I was 10 minutes ago. The main summit over there. So why they didn't build a wind shelter over on the main summit, I don't know. But there we have it. So what I need to do now is pick my way down off this fell. It looks quite steep. And then head up. Here there's a path that goes up here and then along that ridge up onto Ladyside Pike and then Hopegill Head. Greystones over there. That's the first fell climbed on the last hike. So I'm still trudging off Whinlatter. Should be meeting the forestry path soon, and then that takes me down to the road. Okay, found the road. So just a short little quarter of a mile or so down this road until we get the path that takes us up onto that ridge there, which ultimately takes us up onto Ladyside Pike and then onwards to Hopegill Head. Okay, found a little spot for lunch just by the beck down here, so have some sandwiches, refuel the tank and then crack on to Ladyside Pike. Still plodding on. Got a first view of Ladyside Pike there. This is Swinside and Hobcarton plantations on the left. And that's Hobcarton End, the fell over there. This is Swinside over here. None of those two are Wainwright, so not interested in those. So our path goes up, skirts up the side of Swinside and then goes over to Ladyside Pike, which also isn't a Wainwright, but he's just in our way on getting to Hopegill Head. Almost on Ladyside Pike. Just looking out over the route taken already. That's Whinlatter over there. That's actually Lord's Seat just in the background there, and Broom Fell, but the route sort of went up here, wound its way up through the forest, up onto the summit of Whinlatter, and then dropped down through here, and then I've come up onto this route. So I'm about to lose views, I think, because Ladyside Pike looks like it's about to be shrouded in cloud, and I'm not sure if I'll then get any views around Hopegill Head and those fells until I drop down onto Barrow. I've got 2 hours of daylight left, so I do need to get a wriggle on, because I expect that I'll certainly be walking the last bit back to the car in darkness, I should imagine. So but it'd be nice to actually get a view from Barrow and not be stood on top of the summit and it's been totally black. So we'll see how the stamina goes. Anyway, next objective, Ladyside Pike. Nearly there. Just a brief pause though, because over there is Low Fell and Fell Barrow, which are the next two Wainwrights on the list to tick off. So it's quite a good aspect from them up here. All the Low's Water is just in that little hollow between Low Fell, which is that one, and then up onto sort of Blake Fell and the Low's Water Fells around there. Ladyside Pike Summit, nothing to see. Moving on. Well, I've made it to the summit of Hopegill Head and I've been rewarded with one of the most beautiful sights that you can see when fell walking. A cloud inversion. We've managed to get above the cloud where it's beautiful blue sky and we can see all of the high fells. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. This is why we do it. This is why we do it. Ah, lovely. Absolutely lovely. So we've got Skiddaw and Blencathra poking above the clouds, Grisdale Pike, Helvellyn and the whole Helvellyn range. Be lovely on top of that there at the moment. And then we've got Sale and Crag Hill where we're heading next. This is Grassmore. Oh, that is just absolutely stunning. I'm almost lost for words. Wow. wish I could stay up here for longer, but I am going to be running out of daylight if I'm not careful, so I am going to have to get a wriggle on. So it's a case of onwards now over Sandhill, up onto Crag Hill, down onto Sale, and then unfortunately it looks like the Barrow is going to be in cloud, unless it's below the cloud, and then I might get some sort of views. But wow. Okay, I'm reluctantly going to have to move on. I'll give you one more panorama. Right, I'm back below the clouds, and I've made a decision. I've got 45 minutes of daylight left. It's going to take me at least half an hour to get up onto Crag Hill from where I am now, and then that means the entire descent from Crag Hill in darkness and no view from Barrow. So yeah, discretion being the better part of valour, I've decided to bail out down the Coaldale Beck / Coaldale Valley path, which is a pretty good path all the way back to the car. And this path is going to take me 45 minutes at least, so it's going to be dark by the time I get to the car, even going this way. So Barrow will have to wait for another day. I'll have to do that as a standalone hike, but never mind. Just one Whinlatter today, but the highlight obviously was the cloud inversion. That was unexpected and absolutely brilliant. So no regrets at all. So I've still got the 5 Whinlatters left to do. Barrow, Low Fell, Fell Barrow, Fleetwith Pike, Haystacks, and that's going to be 3 more hikes. But yeah, that's fine, there's no hurry. Fells aren't going anywhere, so I've got to head back down this valley down here. I have to watch my footing here because I've slipped a couple of times getting down to this point. It's very, very icy. So yeah, so I'm going to put the camera away and concentrate fully on this descent. And I might get some views if we get back below the cloud level again, we'll see. But yeah, onwards. Well, it's pretty dark now. 5 minutes away from the car. It was obviously a good decision to bail early, because if I'd have carried on, that would have added at least another hour, maybe an hour and a half to the hike. And it's quite a steep descent off Barrow, so I think it was a wise decision. So happy to leave Barrow for another day. So yeah, 5 Whinlatters left to go. Slowly plodding along, ticking them off. Highlighted today, obviously the cloud inversion. I mean, I've been hiking regularly in the Lake District for 20 years, and that's the first time I've seen one that good. So I've completely made up for that. Brilliant. Whinlatter Forest as well was good. Definitely worth exploring if you've not been there before. I was quite impressed. Yeah, overall good day in the fells. So next one will probably be either Barrow on its own or Fell Barrow and Low Fell. Just depends on time and weather and all sorts of other things, but we'll see. Okay, till next time, signing off.